The book has had a tremendous impact in my relationship with my son.
I did not put it down until I had read the whole book.
I was just really inspired, encouraged, and just felt compelled to tell everyone about the book.
I learned a lot about my daughter that I had never even realized about her whole perspective on things.
Reading this book has really improved me and my dad's communication.
We would meet every Friday morning before she went to work, and we each would have read the chapter, and then we just went through the topics, and some we would skip over, and others we would go very deep in. It was absolutely an amazing experience.
Some of the things that he said are the best things I've ever said to my son.
This book allowed us the opportunity for me to say, here are 109 success pointers that I want to make sure you know as you transition from seeing mom and dad every day to being in the world and making decisions for yourself.
Some of these things are so vital and play a huge role in your life, and it opens your eyes to things that you need to be more aware of and will help you grow as a person in turn.
Dennis's book addresses those character qualities that are so vital to business and yet are so often overlooked in the educational process.
This is just written so well and so easy for anybody to apply in their life. So I'm just really excited about the book.
This book assures that you have really got a strong foundation in your character from which you can then go off and develop your skills and develop your career toward becoming a successful citizen in your country.
If you don't have integrity, you don't go anywhere in life. And this book is about integrity, about being able to look back on a life and say, it was a life well lived.
Dennis Trittin is highly respected in the world of financial management. During his career at world-renowned Russell Investments, he consistently received awards for innovation, leadership, and for managing the best-performing fund.
Dennis was a world-class equity manager for the Frank Russell Company. The Frank Russell Company was and still is one of the largest investment firms in the world. And Dennis was one of their top equity managers.
Throughout his distinguished career, Dennis Trittin evaluated some of the world's most successful investment leaders, educators, and industry captains. He observed that productivity, character, and relationship skills are essential for success in all walks of life. Based on this experience, Dennis decided to compile and teach his insights to teenagers and their parents. Now serving as a practical life skills guide, What I Wish I Knew at 18 highlights 109 success pointers that speak to the vital areas of character, relationships, finance, and career strategies, all of which are essential for success in life.
How we define success will define how we live our lives. And the people who are the most successful in life set goals for them, and they set objectives, and they define what kind of an impact they want to leave on the world. And because of that, they live very strategic and purposeful lives of impact. And that's one thing that I would just encourage all of you to think about is, how can I live life strategically, with purpose, and with an honorable definition of success? There is a very well-known book by an author named Stephen Covey, and he wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the habits that Stephen Covey shares is to begin with the end in mind. And I think one interesting way that we can start the process of thinking about how we define success is to imagine ourselves 70 years from now, 80 years from now, looking back on our lives and asking ourselves, what did we make of it? What do we want to come out of this life that we've been given? And again, the most successful people in life will approach their life strategically. Now, how do you suppose our culture defines success? So when you think about what you see on the TV and the movies and the radio stations, what are the kinds of things that define success in the way the culture would? And I think what most people agree is it's things like money, possessions, power, position, fame, beauty. That's what our culture is using to define success in life. And there are many people out there who choose to live lives that are defined by those particular terms. I would argue that those types of things are not substantive. They will not be the kind of honorable definitions of success that will cause someone to view you one day as a person that truly was a person with impact. What I'd like you to do is to listen very closely to what a lady named Bessie Stanley wrote 107 years ago. And it's amazing how that long ago, this definition of success still stands the test of time. And it does because it's based on honorable and universal truth. So here's what Bessie Stanley said in the Lincoln Sentinel on November 30th, 1905. He has achieved success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of little children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who has left the world better than he found it, whether by an improved copy, a perfect poem, or a rescued soul, who has never lacked appreciation of earth's beauty or failed to express it, who has always looked for the best in others and given them the best he had, whose life was an inspiration, whose memory a benediction. Now, what I'd like you to do is to reflect on the difference between Bessie Stanley's definition of success and how our culture is defining success. Talk with your parents about this. See how they would define success. And I would really encourage you, as one of your homework assignments, is to think of the people that you consider to be the most admired people, whether they're living or dead. Watch them, learn from them. See what it is that makes them such amazing and admired and honorable people. Because the more you observe them, the more you're going to learn from them. And the more you learn from them, the more you can embody those qualities in life. So are you interested in being financially successful? Well, most people are. And the key thing is you only have to do two things well. Number one, you have to learn how to manage your money within a budget and make sure you don't spend more than you make in earnings. Number two, you have to have enough money left over that you can then save and invest for your future. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the first one. How do you go about living within your means, making sure that you only spend less money than you actually make in your income? So if you think about money, there actually are three different buckets. So with all of the income that you generate, which is from your career, from your investments, and from a few other sources, you're going to do one of three things with your money. Number one, you're going to save some of it. Number two, you're going to spend some of it. And number three, you're going to give some of it away to help all of the worthy causes that are out there in the world. And so how do most people think about those three different buckets? Well, one of the reasons that we are in such financial difficulty in our world is because people spend way too much. They take all of their income and they put it in the spending bucket. And because they do that, they have nothing left over to save and invest for their future. They also have very little to give to so many of the charitable and worthy causes out there. So what the average person does is they spend, and then whatever they have left over, if anything, they'll save a little and give a little. And what I'm going to argue that you should do differently than that is to think of it in the reverse order. And that is to give first, to save and invest second, and then to spend what is left over. And I can virtually guarantee that if you do that well, you will not only be fulfilled as a person, you will sleep better at night because of your financial decisions, and you will save enough money for your future retirement. So how does all of this work? Well, first of all, you have your income. And as you're younger, most of your income is going to be from your career, your salary, your bonuses, your compensation that you receive for your work. And then as you get older, and if you're wise in investing, an increasing amount of your income is going to be from investments. But that's a little ways out there for a while. Let's focus more on your career income. And everyone has different careers and different incomes, so you just have to work with the amount of money that you've been given from your career as a starting point. The second thing that you have to do, now that you know what your income is you have to decide how much you're going to give away to bless others and help the world become a better place. And typically, for starters, a younger person would be in the 5 to 10% of their income area. And what you do immediately from your career earnings is you put some money aside to help others. It helps us become spiritually better. It helps us live for others rather than simply living for ourselves. So I would really encourage you to think about giving some of your money away first before even thinking of spending it. The second thing that you have to do is you have to save and invest. And generally, I would recommend that you save between 15 and 20% of your income and put it aside to build your retirement program. And that way, by the time you do retire, you'll be able to keep and maintain that lifestyle that you've enjoyed. But the only way that's going to happen is if you become a dedicated and disciplined saver and investor. So a good rule of thumb is 15 to 20%. The more the merrier. If you can save and invest, that will set you up very well for success down the road. And then the third area that you'll be focusing on is your spending. And you want to spend what is left over rather than spending first and then leaving your giving and your saving for the leftovers.
The information in this book is what Dennis has gleaned from years of working with successful business people, and it will help you find success.